Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. We're here this morning for our Administrative Matters meeting. Let's begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I call this meeting to order. I'm Kristen Stevens, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, and with me are my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally, also Chair Pro Tem, Commissioner John Kafalis. From the clerk's office, helping with note-taking today, we have Diane Cheney. We have our Lorenda Volker, our county manager, with us this morning, Tom Clayton from Public Affairs, and Sarah Martin from the Commissioner's office. So we will begin as we always do, we began with the Pledge of Allegiance, and now we'll move to public comment. We have a few people signed up for public comment. Ray, we'll have you come up with the Constitution Proclamation time. So I'm going to start with Margaret Long, and Margaret, will have you come up to the podium. Welcome. And you will have 3 minutes to speak. Please introduce yourself, too.
I'm Margaret Long, live in Fort Collins. I am here to talk about the device of the print copy of the Office on Aging's Answer on Aging. Imagine me as a woman of the same vintage, but all I have to connect me to the internet is my more or less smartphone. I have a number of concerns and needs, and was given a magnet with the internet address, which will tell me about resources that might help me. Can't remember if it takes me to the Extension Office or the Office on Aging. So I tried. I slowly, with lots of mistakes and backtracking, type in the address with my arthritic thumbs, making mistakes along the line and having to correct, because in addition to my fat thumbs, my vision is less than perfect. Finally, something pops up that looks like a table of contents, and I go to the section for help with housekeeping. I see a bunch of names and information listed. Oh, I wish this was in print. I find a pencil and paper and start to write down information. While hitting the screen, inadvertently moving it off to another section, I finally get it back. I try to write down the information, but keep losing it and having to find it again. Oh, how I wish this was a print booklet that I could just read and make notes on, that my mind and body can handle, but I keep trying. Finally, tired and discouraged, I give up for the night. Maybe I'll try again in the morning, and maybe I'll just keep going without the help I need. I was told that there used to be a print booklet like I wish for. Wish it still existed. End of story. Please consider carefully the decision to stop publishing the Answers on Aging. I know budgets are very tight, but many older adults, like the one I described, can use the print copy but do not have the skills or equipment to effectively use information only gained on the internet. In a couple of decades, they will be gone, and this will no longer be an issue. But in the meantime, do they not deserve access to our senior resource-rich community to provide information that can bring comfort and sometimes even life-saving information? Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Margaret. The next speaker is Cindy Buckart.
Cindy Buckhart, Larimer County 4-H Foundation. I'm standing before you to tell you how proud I am of the Larimer County 4-H program, a program I have been a part of since the age of 9, first as a member, then as a parent and a leader, and now as the president of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation, a foundation I care deeply about. The Larimer County 4-H Foundation has been established since 1953. That is over 70 years. In 2026, the foundation will be celebrating its 67th annual carnival, a carnival that helps every 4-H club in Larimer County with their fundraising. The fundraising that supports activities within their clubs. The carnival supports, according to Larimer County Extension, more than 1,000 youth across Larimer County, enrolled in over 50 different projects. Am I proud of the work of the Larimer County 4-H Foundation? Darn right I am. Now I ask you, are you proud of the work the Larimer County 4-H Foundation has provided for the past 70 years? If you are, then why are we having this discussion about the use of the ranch facilities? There should be no discussion in removing such a fine organization as the Larimer County 4-H Foundation from the use of the facilities it promoted to be built for noncompliance. What is noncompliance? That's a cop-out for removing an organization with no real reason. If there's a real reason, then you should be proud of the removal of the 4-H Foundation and put it in print on Larimer County letterhead. You should be proud of the decision you support and stand behind it. To say the decision has come to an impasse, how is that? Impasse means by definition no progress is possible because of a disagreement, a deadlock. How can that be when the foundation continues to ask for discussion? The foundation has invited Connor McGrath twice to meetings and Mr. McGrath has yet to attend. We were told we were going to have a discussion at our May meeting to resolve further communication between us. Instead, Lori Cadrich attends and states there is no discussion. Why is that? What happened to discussion? What are you hoping to gain from removing the foundation from the use of the ranch facilities? Are you saving money since that is your ultimate goal of making the ranch self-sufficient? How is it that you state you support 4-H but not the 4-H Foundation, which is 4-H? We exist for the sole purpose of promoting and financially supporting Larimer County 4-H's youth and their programs. The foundation hosts a craft show in the fall and the carnival is in March. We hope this is resolved and the foundation can book their events at the ranch and move forward. You don't need to respond. We just want you to think about your supportive actions of removing a wonderful organization from the use of the very facilities it promoted to be built for noncompliance and what that means. How many organizations have been removed from the use of the ranch for noncompliance? How was our noncompliance detrimental to the ranch to warrant removal? In 65 years of carnivals, there has never been any written documentation of noncompliance.
Thank you, Cindy. Is there anybody else in the audience who wanted to speak this morning? Sarah, was there anyone who wanted to call in with public comment?
No, Commissioner.
Okay, well, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the commissioners. Commissioners, any response? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Good morning, Margaret. Thank you for being here today. You described a situation I sat through last night with my family member who has never had internet service, maybe for a month, and trying to find caregivers and things. So I understand, and I actually am living that, going through that with my family. And so we all gathered and brought resources together, and it's in a different county, so it's a little bit even harder because I know exactly how to navigate it here. So, and fortunately, I found someone who has some connections to a AAA, area agents. I hear your concerns, and that's why I'm saying that. I understand it because I'm living it, and I understand how important that is. And I wanted to share also that the cost has gone up astronomically for the printing, and yeah, I've gotten some emails about Sharon Zamora and Ernie. They were dear friends of mine. You know how much I mourn their loss, and I know how much work they did to deliver those, and they were our heroes on the Office on Aging Advisory Council. However, we know that the cost has increased significantly. It's up over $50,000, and I know that this is a really valuable tool. That's why we're keeping it as best we can online with QR codes and with multiple languages. And as my grandmother needs screen readers, this is more accessible for screen readers. And I know that we're looking at how we can help folks who need that have access to, and maybe care providers, other folks can print off the specific sections for that. So trust me when I say this is a hard decision to make, and we know that was considered in depth and for a while about the cost. And really this, due to these costs as well as challenges of delivery and accessibility, we also have to think about our budget cuts, and these are going to help keep other services going that are really important for vouchers and other things for folks who need to aid in place. So certainly, this is something that we appreciate your advocacy on, and we'll keep talking about this. But really, we have to eliminate. You have to save this funding so we can repurpose it to alleviate the wait list for in-home services and other things that are at jeopardy because of the decrease in state funding. So I just have to share that this was not a rash decision. It was really considered, and I appreciate you being here today, and I appreciate your decades of service and your heartfelt compassion, especially for folks that you understand and meet with that have challenges. So I wanted to thank you for being here, and certainly more than happy to sit down with you all and have some coffee and talk about this. So also just wanted to, we have this ongoing conversation about 4-H. We are strong supporters of 4-H. There was documentation and notification of noncompliance and violations, and I just don't really want to keep rehashing this conversation when documentation, timelines, and information was provided to Ms. Burkhart, and so I'm just going to leave that there. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Shattuck McNally. Commissioner Cavallis, any comments?
I guess, well, just to say hello to Margaret. It's been a while since we've seen each other. It's nice to see you. There's not much more I can add to what was already stated. I do know that I understand that the updated resource guide will be available by the end of September, I believe. And I mean, there were a number of factors that went into this change. Moving away from the printed version, cost is one of them. But I think another important aspect of it is things change really quickly, and it's difficult to, update the printed version. I think what would be helpful is if there are people, older adults, elders, who are experiencing problems because they don't have access to reliable internet, those kinds of things. There will be a reader to help people who are, who need that help, like me. But I think it would be helpful for us to hear that, and for the human services folks to hear that, so we can evaluate, this change. So that's what I would offer. And Cindy, just thank you. We've, we've had. Thank you for your persistence, and I think we're moving forward and we're supporting 4-H, and I think a different model for the 4-H Foundation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Hello, Margaret. It's good to see you. Margaret and I had served on the CDBG board many years ago together, and now Margaret's on the Extension board and has been providing a lot of service to our community for decades. So, I can't add much to what the other commissioners said. I do hope that, the community partners can print out sections for folks as they need them, and I hope that can work for folks. The costs, as we're evaluating costs, it's really difficult because if we can provide direct services to seniors, that feels maybe more important than spending tens of thousands of dollars on printing. And so, but I hear your concerns. I do understand them. Like I said, hopefully people can get those sections printed out if they need those. And then with regard to Cindy, I'm sorry that we're in an impasse, but we've time and again recommitted to 4-H and hope there's a way forward. So with that, we will move to our next agenda item, which is approval of the minutes. And Commissioner Shattuck McNally, I'll ask you to make that motion.
I move to approve the minutes for the week of September 8th, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. And we will move to our upcoming schedule review. So we'll ask Sarah to help us out with that.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for September 22nd through the 28th, 2025. On Monday, September 22nd, from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., there will be a work session regarding performance measures for support services in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., there will be land use items with the development review team. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be in the hearing room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. On Tuesday, September 23rd, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be an administrative matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be administrative direction to county management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. On Wednesday, September 24th, from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting at the Rocky Mountain Innisphere at 320 East Vine Drive in Fort Collins. From 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the Peaks to People Water Fund and Big Thompson Watershed Health Partnership Cold Fire Tour in Estes Park. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be a work session with Mark Pfaffinger, Support Services Director, regarding internal services in the Commissioners' Conference Room on the second floor. From 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Thompson School District Emergency Medical Technician Pathway Open House event at the Thompson Career Campus at 1811 West 15th Street, Suite B in Loveland. From 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Larimer County Loveland Administrative Building at 200 Peridot Avenue in Loveland or virtually via Zoom. From 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fair Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland or virtually via Zoom. On Thursday, September 25th, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Stanley Film Center groundbreaking event at 333 East Wonderview Avenue in Estes Park. From 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis will host and Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend a community conversation for the Red Feather Lakes community. Guests will be Regan Cloudman, United States Forest Service Public Affairs Specialist, who will give a briefing on shooting closures in the Red Feather Lakes area. This will take place at 58 Firehouse Lane in Red Feather Lakes. From 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the Regional Opioid Abatement Council meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it will be at 2260 West Trilby Road in Fort Collins or virtually via Zoom. From 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Fort Collins Urban Renewal Authority Board meeting. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally may attend the Open Lands and Parks Advisory Boards meeting at the Longview Behavioral Health Center at 2260 West Trilby Road in Fort Collins. On Friday, September 26th, from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual State Human Services Trails Executive Steering Committee meeting. From 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may participate in the virtual Middle Income Housing Authority Board meeting. From 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., Commissioners may participate in the virtual Counties and Commissioners Acting Together member check-in meeting. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Colorado Counties, Inc. budget meeting at 1120 Lincoln Street, Suite 904 in Denver. From 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Shattuck McNally will attend the Fort Collins Rescue Mission Homeless Resolution Center groundbreaking ceremony at the intersection of North College Avenue and Hibden Court in Fort Collins. From 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m., Commissioners will attend the 47th Annual Conrad Ball Award Ceremony at the Fort Collins Country Club at 1920 Country Club Road in Fort Collins. On Saturday, September 27th, from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioners will attend the Sergeant Jack Thurman Plaque Dedication Ceremony at the Larimer County Loveland Administrative Building at 200 Peridot Avenue in Loveland. From 10 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., Commissioner Kafalis will attend the Sergeant Jack Thurman's 100th Balloon Release event at the Larimer County Loveland Administrative Building at 200 Peridot Avenue in Loveland. From 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., Commissioners Kafalis and Stevens may attend the Family Center / La Familia Fiesta Party at the Lyric at 1209 North College Avenue in Fort Collins. And on Sunday, September 28th, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Commissioner Cafalas will attend and speak at the 25th Anniversary Sustainable Living Association event at the Mishawaka at 13714 Pooter Canyon Road in Bellevue.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that. Any corrections or additions? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Thanks, Sarah. Hey, I am also stopping by with my family. I'm not speaking, but I'm just stopping by the Sustainable Living event, association event. And also, I didn't put this on my calendar, but I was planning to go to the La Familia Fiesta party, if we can add that. And I will stay and do the balloon release after the plaque on Saturday, so if you can add me to all those events. I believe on Friday, the commissioners and member check-in part meeting at 10 a.m. I think those are now canceled for a little while, so I'm not sure we're doing that. I think they removed the CCAT. It's canceled that at least for the short term, and then I think that's it. And I don't have all the details yet of the ribbon cutting for the Stanley thing, so I'm still trying to get that from the owner of the Stanley. And I guess the governor's coming, so I'm waiting for all the final formal stuff to come in. But just wanted to let you know about that. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Shattuck McNally. Commissioner Cafalas, any corrections or additions to your schedule? You do? Okay, please go ahead.
Thanks. Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome, everyone. Just regarding the September 25th Red Feather Lakes Community Conversation, there are 3 other presenters that will be at that conversation, in addition to Reagan Cloudman. But we will also have and I can provide you, if you remind me, I'll send you an email with more details. But we'll have the insurance commissioner, Michael Conway, there. We'll have a couple of folks from emergency services who facilitate the wildfire partner program. And we'll also have the USDA Rural Development State Director, Sally Clark, there. So there are 3 other presenters. We should get that in there. Thank you.
Is that everything, Commissioner? Is that everything, Commissioner? Are you done?
I think so.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Sorry.
Sarah, I have one thing. The Thursday, September 25th, from 5 to 7, the Urban Renewal Authority meeting is actually always in person, so I'm not sure how we got that as virtual, but that is at City Hall. And then I guess the only other thing for me is that I have a lot of conflicting meetings all in Denver on Friday morning, and some of those may fall off because I don't know that I can make it to 3 different things that are happening virtually at the same time. So I will be in touch about that. I think that is it for me. So we will. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate your work. We will move on to the consent agenda. So we have 5 agreements on the consent agenda. The first is the Purdue-Sackler opioid litigation settlement. People probably recognize the Sackler name. They were definitely one of the biggest opioid providers in the country, and books have been written about them and all kinds of things. The total dollar amount nationwide of this settlement is $6.5 billion, of which we will get a portion. The next agreement is a secondary manufacturer, also an opioid manufacturers, Alvogen, Amneal, Apotex, Hikma, Indivior, Mylan, Sun, and Zydus, that opioid litigation settlement. And that nationwide total is approximately $618 million spread between those different providers. There again, of which we will get a portion. I think that's to be decided how much that is at this point. We have the fiscal year 25 Bureau of Reclamation Title 28 grant agreement. This is for Horsetooth Reservoir day use improvements. Larimer County's Department of Natural Resources has applied for and been approved for a grant in the amount of $348,831 from the Bureau of Reclamation. And the Department of Natural Resources will provide a match in the amount of $348,831, bringing the total to $697,662. And these approved funds will use to complete improvements to day use areas at Horsetooth Reservoir's Rotary and Skyline Parks. And that term runs through March 31st of 2027. Next is a road project agreement between Larimer County and the USDA, the Forest Service, Arapahoe and Roosevelt National Forests, and Pawnee National Grasslands. This agreement documents the parties' cooperation to cost share the replacement of an existing failing bridge on National Forest System land, or more specifically, Bridge 63E, 4.744H over the Little Beaver Creek. Under this agreement, the U.S. Forest Service will provide $600,000 toward the planning, design, and construction of the new replacement structure, and Larimer County will fund any project costs that exceed $600,000. And the structure is estimated to cost $1 million. And that term goes through September 30th of 2027. And finally, we have the State of Colorado Intergovernmental Agreement Modification, number 5 amendment. This is between the Colorado Department of Early Childhood and Larimer County for promoting safe and stable families. And the total dollar amount is approximately $1 million for a term that runs through September 30th of 2026. We have 4 liquor licenses. First is for renewal for Windjammer Roadhouse, located outside of Loveland, and that's a tavern license. Special event permit for Fort Collins Running Club, the Blue Sky Marathon Running Club by Fort Collins Running Club. 6%, as I've always said, it looks like if you run a marathon, you get a beer. That's a lot of miles to go for a beer, but we like our beer in Fort Collins. The next is a liquor license transfer of ownership for Lehigh Ranch at the Forks, and that is a fermented malt beverage and wine license. And finally, a liquor license transfer of ownership. That looks like the same one for a tavern license. Oh, that's that's for the tavern license. And those are both, the Forks is located in Livermore, Colorado. Then we have 4 resolutions. First one is findings and resolutions denying the Cavin's Administrative Special Review Short-Term Rental and Appeal. That was from a hearing that was held on August 25th, 2025. A second is a findings and resolutions approving the Smith appeal, and that was a request for a exemption from subdivision regulations to create a 5-acre lot from existing 40-acre parcel. That hearing was also held on August 25th, 2025. An amended findings and resolutions approving the Hanson Conservation Development preliminary plat appeal. And that was amended due to the size of the residential lot and residual lots mentioned in paragraph 5 being incorrect. And the public hearing for this item was July 28th, 2025. And finally, a resolution to reappoint Ashley Morris, Melissa Divido, and Chris Hefty to the Community Corrections Advisory Board. They will all serve terms that began on July 1st of this year and end on June 30th, 2027. So that is everything on the consent agenda. Would either commissioner like to remove something from this consent agenda? All right, then I'll ask Commissioner Cavalis to make the motion for this item.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the consent agenda for September 16th, 2025.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on any of these items? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. Do either of you have guests this morning? No guests. All right, so we are moving on to our first discussion item, and this is a proclamation declaring September 15th through October 15th as Hispanic Heritage Latine Month in Larimer County. This was submitted by Lori Cadrich, our Assistant County Manager. But what we'll be doing here is proclaiming those dates, September 15th through October 15th of this year, as Hispanic Heritage Latine Month to recognize and honor the contributions and achievements of the Hispanic Latine community. And so this was worked on by our Community Advisory Board, and we are grateful for their help with that. I don't know if we have anyone here to speak on this topic, or all right. Well, we will move then straight to the proclamation, and Commissioner Shattuck McNally, I will have you do the honors.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A proclamation declaring September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as Hispanic Latine Heritage Month in Larimer County, Colorado. Whereas Hispanic Latine Heritage Month was established in 1968 to recognize and celebrate the rich culture, history, and contributions of the Hispanic Latine communities in the United States. The observation runs September 15th through October 15th to coincide with the independence days of several Central American countries, including Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, all which celebrate on September 15th. Aligning these dates highlights the resilience, pride, and heritage of the Hispanic Latine community. And whereas various terms are used to describe this population, in Larimer County, we use the word Latine, a gender-neutral, inclusive term for all individuals of Latin American descent. Hispanic refers to people with heritage from Spanish-speaking countries, and Latino is a gender-specific term denoting ancestry from Latin America or the Caribbean. While Latinx is a general neutral alternative, it is not rooted in the Spanish language. And whereas, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, over 62 million people in the United States, approximately 18.9% of the population identify as Hispanic Latine. In Colorado, Hispanic Latine population exceeds 1.3 million, or 22.75% of the state's population. And in Larimer County, Hispanic Latine residents total more than 46,000 folks, making up 13.1% of the population, the largest racial or ethnic minority group in the county. And whereas one in every four children born in the United States identifies as Hispanic or Latine, and nearly 30% of students in U.S. schools are from Hispanic Latine backgrounds. However, a recent study by the Johns Hopkins Institute for Educational Policy found that only 12% of important Latino history topics are adequately covered in high school textbooks. Students deserve a fuller understanding of U.S. history, including topics such as the Mexican-American War, Spanish-American War, the U.S. acquisition of Puerto Rico, the Panama Canal, the Civil Rights Movement, the Cold War era Latino politics, and legal milestones like the Voting Rights Act and Civil Rights Act. And whereas the Hispanic Latine community has a long and impactful history of contributing to every sector of American life, strengthening the cultural, economic, and civic fabric of Larimer County, Colorado, and the United States. If considered independently, the GDP generated by the Hispanic Latine workers would rank as the 5th largest economy in the world. Whereas the community has continually demonstrated strength and perseverance in the face of discrimination and inequity. Leaders such as Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta paved the way for labor rights and social justice through their tireless advocacy on behalf of farm workers and marginalized communities. And whereas, in accordance with the 2025 Hispanic Latine Heritage Month nationwide theme, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together, encapsulating the spirit of innovation, resilience, and unity that defined the Hispanic Latine experience, we ask Larimer County residents to recognize the significant achievements of the Hispanic Latine community in the economic, political, and cultural growth of Larimer County. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County, Colorado, that September 15th through October 15th, 2025, be recognized as Hispanic Latine Heritage Month in Larimer County, and all residents are encouraged to remove barriers through advocacy and activism, working towards equity for all Hispanic Latine communities in the county. Larimer County invites the public to participate in local events and celebrations that honor and highlight the enduring contributions of the Hispanic Latine community to our county, state, and nation. Done this day, the 16th day of September 2025 in Fort Collins, Colorado, by the Board of County Commissioners of Larimer County. Madam Chair, I would like to move to approve the proclamation declaring September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as Hispanic Heritage Latine Month.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
I know we don't have folks to receive these today, but I would like to maybe take a copy to some groups. They did have a pretty robust Latine Hispanic Heritage Month celebration. Heart and Soul was actually at Odell's and had a really good turnout. They planned that in conjunction with a lot of community members who wanted to provide a safe and representative open gathering for all to come. And also wanted to note, I believe there was a wonderful art exhibit about Sugar to Diamonds, talking about some of the Hispanic and Latine heritage of some of the baseball and history in Fort Collins of those. Really important history to note. And I think that is at the Creativity Center or the over by the Old Town Library. So I think that display is still on, and I hope folks will go and take a look at that. And then Fort Collins is doing their little celebration before their proclamation tonight. So I just want to make folks aware there are some activities to participate in and to learn more. And I really encourage us all to embrace each other with open arms. We're all in this, and we're stronger together, and we have a very bright, vibrant, beautiful tapestry where we're all beautiful, important, strong threads that woven together make Larimer County the beautiful and amazing place that it is. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Capalas, any?
Just a bit. Just to say thank you to our neighbors who are Hispanic, who are Latine. They contribute much to our community. I'm glad we're able to do these kinds of proclamations to recognize different important fabric of our tapestry community, including our Latine neighbors.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is we're happy and proud to do this proclamation. Sorry that we didn't have any folks here to accept the proclamation, but we know that we'll probably be seeing people this evening at the City Hall when the City of Fort Collins does their proclamation, knowing that sometimes after work is a better time to do these kind of things. Just want to remind folks that it's really important to probably more than ever to acknowledge the fact that we have a lot of Hispanic and Latine people in our community, that they are an important part of our culture, and that we need to honor that and remember the history of the folks that came before us when times weren't as good, and knowing that this particular community is struggling a lot now with some of the issues around immigration that are happening in our community, and that this proclamation is a sign of our support to our friends and neighbors in the Hispanic Latine community. That is it for me. So there's a motion on the table. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. So we will move on to our next item, and that is another proclamation. This is a proclamation declaring September 17th through 23rd, 2025 as Constitution Week. It was submitted by Lori Kadrich, our Assistant County Manager, on behalf of the Overland Trail chapter of the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution. This will be proclaiming September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week and asking community members to affirm the ideals of the Constitution of the United States of America by protecting the freedoms guaranteed through this foundational document. And I believe we have, is it Ray? Ray, we'd love you to come up and make some comments if you're comfortable doing that. Thank you for being here, and thank you for the work on the proclamation.
Thank you. My name is Ray Todd. I am the Vice Regent of the Overland Trail chapter of the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, whose pillars are history, education, and patriotism. I'd like to thank on behalf of the chapter, of your ongoing support on some of our activities and everything else. We are in preparation, all of us, all the chapters nationwide are in preparation for America 250, the celebration, as well as Colorado 150, and especially in the States. So you'll be probably seeing some more activities. There will be a dedication of a plaque that was just installed at Veterans Plaza in honor of America 250. So I appreciate your support and look forward to seeing you at other events.
Thank you very much, Ray, and thank you for reminding us about that important upcoming milestone for our country, 250. I will tell you, I was a girl in a young elementary school girl during the bicentennial, and so it's kind of scary that the 250 is sneaking up, because it doesn't seem that long ago that I dressed up like Betsy Ross and sang a lot of patriotic songs at my elementary school. So we look forward to those events. Any questions or comments before we read the proclamation, Commissioners? Commissioner Shattuck McNally.
Thank you, Ray. Thanks for being here, and thank you for the work that you all do to raise the education and awareness. I so enjoy coming to the Overland chapter. Patriotic and
Patriots Awards,
and the way you honor, especially the mountain schools and those students and their teachers. I enjoy that so much, and it's such a really heartwarming celebration. And those students are just amazing. The work that they do to give back to their community and in their schools, really nurturing young leaders along the way is just so important. And I want to just tell you thank you for that tireless dedication to that work. We really appreciate it, and thank you also, for bringing. I always like to have these around, and I start to get the edges a little folded, so I appreciate getting a fresh one, and it's always nice to have that remind folks of exactly what those wonderful words say. And I appreciate just all of you just trying to really help keep that history alive, and thanks for reminding us about the 250th anniversary. I know a lot of things are been worked on for not just the last year, but for years. There's a national commission that's been working on getting ready for the celebration, and it's massive. I know some folks who had worked on that for a while and kind of rolled off, but it's a lot of work. And I have fond memories. I have inherited my dad's. My dad worked for 30 years at IBM and was a tool and die maker. So I have all his tool boxes and his rolling pens and stuff. And he still, on one side, has all these centennial stickers and things that he had, and so excited for all of that. And he grew a beard and dyed it red, white, and blue, and all those things. So fond memories as a child that you still, look back and remember. So I share that story because I think that the children that you recognize and help instill that pride and patriotism and thinking about all these things, you're planting these seeds and a legacy that will warm them and carry them through their lives, I think, to help pass on to their children about the importance of us all being active and very engaged citizens and members of this great country and our great state. Because also, Colorado's celebrating its anniversary as well next year. So just want to say thanks, and really glad you brought this forward. And it's always important that we pause and read this proclamation. And it's not just words on a paper. They're important living documents. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Cavalos, any comments that you want to make?
Sure. I'll add a few words.
All right.
First of all, thank you, Ray. I appreciate your hard work and the work of the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Overland chapter. One of the things that comes to mind is how meticulous you all are in the research when you're determining whether or not to declare a historical marker, such as we did. I think it was, last fall or whenever it was, with the historic Virginia Dale Church. I mean, it was pretty amazing to see how that process unfolds. You folks make sure that the information is accurate, and so that's to be commended. Thank you for bringing forth this proclamation. Look forward to reading it in a moment. And certainly, I think it behooves us to remind everyone who is listening that those of us in elected office take an oath to uphold the Constitution. And I think that's a fundamental, sacred thing that all of us need to do our best to uphold, and certainly those of us who are elected to public office. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. I really appreciate the work that you and the chapter do. And I, for whatever reason, have not been able to attend your events. Somehow they all fall during other events for me, but I hope to remedy that and look forward to events for next year. And just to, I think that I thank you for the copy as well, because I think it's really important to remember, as Commissioner Cavalos said, we take an oath when we are sworn in to protect this Constitution and the rather lengthy Colorado Constitution. And while the word democracy is not written into the Constitution at all, which is very interesting, the Bill of Rights especially is in many ways sort of the pillars of what we consider our democracy. And so as we it's always really important to celebrate those freedoms, but also fight for them when necessary. So thank you for being here, and I will ask Commissioner Cavalos to read the proclamation and make the motion.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just a quick side note regarding the copy of the Constitution that you provided. I started looking at it, and there's all sorts of interesting, fascinating facts about the founding fathers and the Constitution. So that'll, when I'm in really long meetings or something, it'll be something good that I can read. Thank you. I'll read the proclamation now. Proclamation for Constitution Week, September 17th to the 23rd, 2025. Whereas September 17th, 2025 marks the 238th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, now therefore be it resolved that the Larimer County Board of Commissioners, on behalf of all residents of Larimer County, does hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our residents to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. Dated this 16th day of September 2025. Shall I do the motion?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yep. I move to approve the proclamation declaring September 17th through 2025 as Constitution Week.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes 3-0. And we'll pause for a photo if that's fine with you. We are back. I want to thank Sheriff John Fain for joining us in that photo for that proclamation for Constitution Week. And we're moving on to our next agenda item, which is approval of the purchase of the Dent Ranch Conservation Easement as recommended by the Open Lands Advisory Board at its August 28th, 2025 meeting. And this item was submitted by Megan Flanagan and Justin Core, who are both with us, and will, I guess, walk through a little slideshow about what's happening here. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Megan Flanagan with the Natural Resources Department. And this is a project you saw in executive session back in August as well. It's the last piece of the larger project we've been working on, the Livermore area off County Road 74E. It's a final 40-acre parcel that we phased as a separate phase outside of the GOCO grant we got for the remainder of the ranch conservation project. And so on this map, the purple circle is our Livermore conservation area in the Open Lands Master Plan. And with that, I'll pass over to Justin to give you the details.
Thank you, Megan. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you, Megan. Justin Core, Senior Land Agent in the Engineering Department. So as Megan mentioned, this is a project that is important for a number of reasons, mostly related to the successes we've had in the Livermore Valley with land conservation projects as of late. This is a 40-acre parcel, more or less an inholding within the larger Dent Ranch, which is a property that the county conserved or protected with the conservation easement back in April. And Megan mentioned the larger GOCO and City of Fort Collins supported conservation easement project that covered those properties in orange and red on the south side of County Road 74E that we closed on late last year and then through kind of the early and late spring of this year. And those easements were on the Lone Pine Livestock Ranch, the Quarter Circle Lazy H Ranch, and as I mentioned just a minute ago, the Dent Ranch. So those properties in orange are private properties that have conservation easements. The ones that are labeled are easements held by Larimer County. The other orange properties are conservation easements held mostly by other land trusts, the Nature Conservancy, Colorado Open Lands, Colorado Cattlemen's Agricultural Land Trust, all have interest in conserving this part of Larimer County. And then, of course, the green properties are all various public lands, so state and federal lands, as well as some land owned by the county. You can see on the kind of periphery of the map there. But with this being a 40-acre property, it is a smaller conservation easement, but I think this map gives you an idea of why it's so important. Certainly plays bigger than it is being able to conserve that kind of inholding within this contiguous area of conserved lands in the Livermore Valley. So with conservation easements, these are agreements that the county holds with landowners to permanently protect various conservation values in perpetuity. And those conservation values confer a number of public benefits. And so the public benefits or the conservation values associated with this particular project are the protection of natural communities and wildlife habitat, the protection of an important scenic viewshed and buffer. This is part of that corridor along County Road 74E, with views, of course, of the valley all the way up to the National Forest on the south side of County Road 74E. As shown in the previous map, with a lot of public land and conserved land in the vicinity. And the conservation easement will also protect the agricultural values that are related to this particular property, which has been used historically for livestock grazing and hanging operations. About 20 acres of the parcel is irrigated ground, and those water or the irrigation is supported by water rights that are protected as part of that larger Dent Ranch Conservation Easement. So in summary, again, it's a 40-acre parcel. I think, like I said, kind of plays bigger than it is, certainly given the nature of where it's located. The value is $125,000. That's the value of the conservation easement interest as appraised. It does come to you as a recommendation for acquisition from the Open Lands Advisory Board, and closing is scheduled for October 3rd. So with that, I think we'll answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Justin. Any questions? Commissioner Cavallos.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Justin and Megan. I believe you've answered the question, but perhaps you could expand on some of your earlier comments, and that is normally or typically we don't look at conservation easements for 40-acre parcels, but because this is an in-holding and it's connecting the larger piece, that's why we're doing it. Can you add a little bit to that, perhaps?
That's correct. And, when we first started talking with this family about conserving the larger Dent Ranch portion, we talked about a conservation easement that would cover everything, including this 40 acres. As it turns out, that 40 is owned by a family member. So in terms of title, there's different ownership, and that was the reason why we split the conservation easement into two documents.
And if I may, just a quick follow-up. What is the rationale behind not doing conservation easements that are 35 acres or 40 acres?
Well, typically, the development rights are what conservation easements seek to limit, to protect conservation values. And, in most cases, 35 or 40 acre parcels can't be further subdivided without going through a planning review and approval process. So in some regard, those are protected, but given the significance of this particular parcel, having that conservation easement, which prohibits any further division of that property, but also limits things like residential development or improvements outside of a building envelope, helps protect those conservation values.
Thank you kindly, sir.
You're welcome.
Any questions or comments?
Comments too?
Sure.
Or sure, I'd like to make some comments. This is kind of that final little piece, not final, but a really important piece to this greater landscape. And just want to thank the family and the families for their generous, we're purchasing the easements, but this was really, I think, an inherent family value of protecting the land and the way of life and the view shed. And when I think about, we think about going up the Big Thompson Canyon and that view shed's protected, and now this view shed's almost from ridge to ridge protected going forward. And everyone drives up and they can say, oh, what a beautiful view, nature's art. But now, this thing of beauty is going to be a joy forever for generations to come. And I think that's really important. It's not, it's one of those things that everyone gets to enjoy driving back and forth. But their greater values also is kind of the conservation values, the habitat, the water, being tied to the land, and just the great stewardship that these families have done. I know you've said it out multiple times that you've been out to look at this property and just what fantastic stewards they are. And now we're sharing stewardship. We're sharing that shared stewardship is such an important and wonderful model. And I really think about people who, that quote about the inherent love without the love of the land. And this family definitely, with being generational ranchers and farmers, they love the land. And without that love of land and then conservation, I've said this before, conservation lacks meaning or purpose. But really, it's that deep inherent feeling that the land can be preserved, and it's this wonderful thing, not just dirt and rocks, but this biodiverse habitat and view sheds. And then, so there's dedication in preserving it, and with that love of land, and all of us as a public love the land. It's just that shared deep meaning and shared stewardship. So you all do a fantastic job working with those landowners and find those landowners who share those values and that deep love of the land and love of just everything that comes, the trees and the wildlife, and even just the clean air and the view, which is something you can't really measure. It's just something to be enjoyed by all. And I want to just thank you for your continued outstanding work and dedication. And you are just an amazing team. And Megan, you have done this for decades now. We just appreciate all the things that you do that maybe most people don't even comprehend or see or understand. This is complex, patient work that requires perseverance and focus on relationships and also the details. And you guys do it just in such a beautiful and professional way. And I just appreciate each and every one of you. So really excited about this. And again, another view shed protected for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Valls, any other words you wanted to share? Okay. Yeah, just thank you for bringing this forward. We appreciate this. Even though this is a small parcel, it's pretty integral to that whole piece. I've expressed this to Dalen and Megan before, but I grew up between Pueblo and Walsenburg, and so when I want to go to what feels like my childhood home, like this Livermore area for me is what it's like, undeveloped, hilly, grasslands and into, foothills and mountains, really beautiful view sheds. And so this is a really special place for me, and I know it is for the rest of our community. It's a place where you can go, and it just calms you down to be there, at least for me. So I'm really grateful for any space that we can grab onto in this area and make sure that we're preserving it. So well done, both of you, and Dalen as well, and your whole team who works on this. And there again, I understand the value of those relationships that you are making to be able to make things like this happen. And so that's a piece I think that people don't get to see, is like it's not just about the land, it's about the people who own the land and how what they want their legacy to be as well. So just very well done. With that, I'll ask Commissioner Shattuck McNally to make the motion on this.
Thank you. I am very proud and excited to make this motion. I move that the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners approve the resolution approving the acquisition of Dent Ranch Conservation Easement, Statement of Authority, and Deed of Conservation Easement.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 That motion passes 3-0. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is a county manager update. County manager, is there anything you want to share today?
I will keep it very brief today. I just want to say thank you again to all the departments and offices who have taken the time to meet with the budget team and I on the 2026 budget preparation. Everyone is coming just with great partnership in mind, and so it's been a real treat to be reminded how great our leaders are in this county. And then congratulations again. I know you all may want to speak about the 2025 Innovation Awards ceremony that was last Friday. It was a really diverse group of innovations. Some involved technology, some involved people. Every one of them involved a new way of looking at something and seeing it differently. So congratulations again to those winners, and I'll leave the rest of that up to you. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the county manager? No, thank you. All right, we'll move on to commissioner activity reports. Commissioner Shattuck McNally, we'll start with you.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I love September. It's just a beautiful month. There's lots to do inside and outside, and boy, what a busy month it is with lots of festivals and activities. One of those was the Pastels on 5th, which is that annual event where you people go and do art and sponsor squares on the sidewalks. It's outside still at the near on 5th Street in Loveland near the museum. The rain started just minutes after a lot of folks just finished. So a lot of folks probably didn't get to come at the end because of the rain, but I still think some of that's there. So I highly encourage you all to go check out that annual event and go see the chalk art. And you can also go to their Instagram or social media because the pictures are just outstanding. And again, it's a fundraiser for alternatives to violence and other activities related to that, and it just a really gem of an event. And I wanted to just kind of share about that. It was extremely brief attendance, but it was great to once again just astounded at the talent that is in our communities. We had a lot happening, but I wanted to kind of talk about the Poudre School District Advanced Manufacturing Lab grand opening. We got to attend that and see the students and take a tour. Was so excited. As my colleagues were all there, we, as a board, gave $1 million, which was matched by the Bohemian Foundation to expand and bring some new items into that lab and to expand it and bring this career technical pathway and education to the Poudre School District. And next week we'll look and be expanding the same kind of program in a different area for the Thompson School District, and all 3 school districts are able to participate in both of those labs, and so it's great to have that so everyone can participate, and I really appreciate the collaboration and partnership. Was thanks to Bohemian and Woodward for bringing some information. Technology and equipment, and thanks to Ames Community College and other partners who partnered to help make this whole lab a reality. Thanks to Dr. Kingsley for his work. And I want to just shout out to all the staff. I wrote down their names, but I can't find my notes. But it's great to have all the bells and whistles, but if you don't have enthusiastic instructors who just love the work that they do and love working with those students and inspiring that work, it won't go very far without the students inspired by these wonderful staff. And I wanted this big shout out to the career and technical educators. I know we use old terms like shop or something, but really it is a career and technical education awareness and really important fact. Pathways in aviation and automotive and manufacturing. Well done, Poudre School District. Well done to those staff members. And the students were really outstanding. And one of them mentioned he just graduated, but he's still kind of on the community college or extension of that program. And he is, I don't know which program, maybe the sheriff has heard of his name, but he is participating as a wildland firefighter. So I gave a big kind of thank you loud thing because we don't realize sometimes some of these students and the things they do in the community and how valuable the things that they do. And then Commissioner Stevens and I attended the Colorado State University Community Breakfast, which was really fascinating to have the panel sharing about some of the things with the Colorado Restorative Forest Institute and the Powerhouse. Dr. Brian Wilson was there and others, and sharing some of the things and research that that CSU is partnering in the community. But it was really nice, and Commissioner Stevens and I both talked, and we're trying to make some connections about how they want to connect some of their research and some of their professors and programs with elected leaders and leaders in the community, so that we are aware of that and how we connect. And Commissioner Stevens and I both make some connections to see how we can participate that and be maybe in some of those meetings and learn more. We kind of already do that with some of the Forest Health Council work because they come and present all the time, about every other week to us. So it's great to me we can see how to expand that. We had a regional opioid abatement learning forum, which I want to share because it's really important. Though on the consent agenda was those 2 documents from the secondary manufacturer in Purdue, or Sackler settlement, and it's really important that we sign that participation form. Actually, Larimer County is a little lagging behind there, all the other regions. I'm the vice chair of the Regional 2 Opioid Abatement Council, and we have to sign those and have us 80% participation forms signed, or almost, I think there's a little clause that people don't get the money that we all have to sign. So it's really important that document was done and timely because the deadline's at the end of this month. But also they were sharing some of the new dates that we have to get our money in our buckets, or how we are designated, how that money is going to be spent. in now or by November 15th, or we can't apply for the money or receive the money until way next year. So it's really important about those documents and the things that we do with that. So I just wanted to just kind of say those, because I really appreciate we got that signed today. I did speak on 9/11. I wanted to share some really exciting news. The 11 Habitat for Humanity. I spoke to help open that ceremony. They have got a 9/11 grant to engage veterans in a build and engage veterans in the community to give back and do an activity. And so they got that grant, and the Loveland or Thompson Valley ROTC came and participated, and they love to do more for us. And if we ever need a color guard or any activities, they would love for us to contact them. They will be here in a heartbeat. They'd love to be more engaged. And actually, they're going to be contacting me. They would love to bring some of their ROT students to come to our Administration Matters meeting and participate and learn more about how county government and local government works. So I'm going to just want to let my colleagues know I'm going to follow up on that and encourage them to come and participate. And that retired colonel is very excited to make some new partnerships. We had the Colorado Fire Commission meeting, which is our subcommittee meeting of prescribed fire. I'm on the Forest Health Council. I sit on the subcommittee, and we're still working on trying to implement the recommendations for prescribed fire and looking at what legislative things might need to be forwarded to help with that. There's still a lot of questions on liability and what that looks like for burn bosses and other entities who might be sponsoring or participating. And then we had our monthly individual meetings with Senator Hickenlooper's office, which was really productive and helpful. And I appreciate Sally Bocella making herself available. We had our Larimer County Interagency Oversight Group, which is still evolving and changing with some of the new laws and memberships, and that was a really important meeting to have. And then we had our Office on Aging Advisory Council meeting, which they had a presentation on some of the Volunteers of America and how they're involved in some of those activities. And then we did the September 11th stair climb with Poudre Fire Authority. That was always a great event to climb as many stairs as I can in the time allowed, because we always have so many 9/11 events on Thursday or about that same time. And then we went to the Neighbor to Neighbor Welcome Home benefit to talk with other electeds and celebrate kind of the 800 families I think they helped this year with housing, which is really an stunning number. And then I went to the Loveland Fire Rescue Authority and Legion 2000 9/11 event, which was very brief this year, and moved locations over to the amphitheater near Loveland High. And that was, again, very somber, but in remembrance of 9/11 and how those activities are important to commemorate. We had Innovation Awards. Again, congratulations to the Clint, who did the art in the jail, was a runner-up, and much of important, wonderful program. Thank you, Clint, for finding a way to pivot and find a way to get to yes, and find a way to highlight this art in the jail, and to give a really constructive outlet for folks to kind of express themselves in a beautiful way. And I'm really he should be very proud of how he had that done in the wonderful positive outcomes that have come from that. And also thanks, I know our Department of Natural Resources couldn't be there to celebrate the Texas Park. We know they had a rough week last week, and I'm still sending all my positive vibes and thoughts to that team. They're outstanding, and I really feel for their very tough week last week. And congratulations on their other runner-up, and then again, congratulations to our emergency management team, especially Lauren and Cole, who were the stars in the video. If you haven't seen the video, please go see it. It's well done, and how they've found a way to be efficient, provide a way to call these mobile call centers, and save money in the long run for equipment that needs to be replaced. Overall, just an outstanding project. Very proud and very pleased to see our just what our staff do all the time to find ways to innovate and provide services even better than we do already, and to find ways to be efficient with taxpayer money and be good stewards. I spent the rest of the weekend visiting with Chaffee County Commissioner P.T. Wood and Gina Lucrezi, and then also Pittman County Commissioner Jeffrey Woodward. We talked land use, wildfire, and water, which was interesting to visit their counties and learn some things from them over the weekend. And I appreciate their partnership and getting to know them, and also learn about how other counties do things different. And then yesterday evening, super proud, super excited, so grateful and thankful that we celebrated and opened the adolescent unit at Longview Behavioral Health, the acute campus at Longview, Larimer County's behavioral health services campus. We had quite a large group of lot of electeds and staff and law enforcement from lots of agencies, and our partners at Summit Stone. Cindy Dodds and Dr. Rosie Brooks were amazing, and Thad Paul with his remarks from our Department of Human Services. And it was great to see the inside and see some of the things they've added. Lots of art available to youth in that unit. And I'm just so thankful we have another resource for our youth that might be experiencing a behavioral health crisis, that they just need a little understanding and hope and care from our community. And I'm very grateful that we have that resource now. And just congratulations to all. And thank you to Amy Martonis and her team, Laura Walker, and everyone involved. And Madeline, who organized the whole event. Well done. And appreciate you being there, Lorenda and Lori Cadridge. Thank you. And I just wanted to make one note. I forgot to recognize Loveland Mayor Jackie Marsh that was there in the audience. I mean, I literally stared directly at her and did mention her. From day one, she was a champion for the behavioral health tax from day one, and fought and opened her shop to provide signs and advocate and have events for free to get folks involved. And I felt very bad about that. I've called her twice and apologized, but I wanted to make note today that I really appreciate her being in attendance, because literally since 2017, 2018, she has been at the forefront championing that. And she just came because she was so excited and wanted to see it, and she's been a supporter. She said, "Don't worry about it," but I felt very remiss that I did not mention that she was there. So I wanted to make a note of it today. And that's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cavalos, any comments? Or a report?
Yes, I'll just mention a couple of things that perhaps haven't been mentioned. One is that on Thursday night, which was the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks, and having been in New York when the World Trade Center towers were hit, and my brother having been at Ground Zero, it's very important for me to continue to remember and not forget. But I started that day with a visit. There was I think it was called the Donor Appreciation Breakfast for a nonprofit coffee shop, Arboretum Coffee, and they do some really excellent work, and with folks who are refugees, folks who are seeking asylum, those kinds of things, and they provide apprenticeships, training, and I'm realizing as I get older that smaller events where you have the opportunity to make human connections are most meaningful to me. So I wanted to share that. The stair climb is always great. I think it was the second annual one. I'm glad I was able to pass all the law enforcement officers, although they were carrying a lot more gear than I was. And I believe those oxygen tanks that the firefighters carry, I think I asked one, they're about 25 pounds or so. So that's always an amazing event. I'm glad that they're starting that having that as a tradition. And this next year will be the third, and it'll be the 25-year anniversary of 9/11. We had a LaPorte community conversation. Once again, a smaller group, about 10 of us. Good conversation. I mentioned about the recovery efforts for the two drownings, individuals who drowned, one paddle boarding at Horsetooth, one on a kayak at Carter, and the brave efforts of all of the various first responders. But we got into a pretty lively discussion about what's required and what's not required. So I think when we look at that issue again, the Department of Natural Resources, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, all of that, I think that'll be another spirited conversation, whether or not it should be required for folks to wear life vests. The current law is that 12 and under, you're required to wear a life vest. So that, I think, yeah. Oh, and I don't know if it was mentioned, I did get to spend a number of hours at the Hero Fest. I think it's the second or annual or so, and Office of Emergency Management, a lot of the first responder folks were there, firefighters, utilities. I was looking forward to sitting on the sheriff's motorcycle, but I couldn't find the sheriff, and I didn't want to just go over there and get on and ride off into the sunset. But that's always an amazing event. Folks deserve a lot of credit. I got to spend it with my granddaughter and a couple of her friends. And then actually after that, in conclusion, we went to Old Town, and I didn't realize, but it's the 9th annual hip-hop dance festival in Old Town. And so we got to experience some of that, and they're very talented folks who do that kind of dancing and movement. So thanks. I guess I got a bit longer than I expected. I got into the moment, I suppose.
No, that's fine. Thank you, Commissioner. Well, I was at many of the events that were aforementioned, so I won't go into any more detail on those. The only thing that I wanted to mention was that on last Wednesday, I was in the Works Allocation Committee meeting, the WAC, and it's wacky. It's wacky because there's not a lot of money and there's a lot of need. So the Works Allocation Committee deals with temporary assistance for needy families dollars. We knew our allocation for Larimer County was going down 5% because of the way that's figured. And so we have even fewer dollars to deal with people who are living really on the margins of poverty. In the latter half of the meeting, we really discussed some of the concerns around how administrative costs are determined. The state seems to have some different ideas than the county does about how that works. So those will be ongoing discussions. We're actually going to be meeting more often. We were scheduled to meet quarterly, and now it sounds like we're going to meet every other month because of all the concerns and all the fluidity of the situation with regard to funding at both the state and federal level. One of the things that we are trying desperately to do is figure out how to keep this program sustainable across the state, because, as I said, it helps the most vulnerable people in our community with basic cash assistance, but also really in finding jobs and making sure that those folks become self-sufficient. So a real crucial fund, safety net program that we have in our county. But I think that if we don't look at it statewide, we won't be able to, save this program. One thing that's very interesting about this program is the allocation from the federal government has not changed since 1996. So we are dealing with dollars from 30 years ago, trying to solve a problem now that's very different. So to be continued on those meetings, and I don't mean to be the downer of the community of the commissioner reports, but I think the optimistic thing is there's a lot of great people across the state working on how to make this work and really how to stretch those dollars. So, great minds on this item, including our own Heather O'Hare from the Department of Human Services. So we will figure this out. And with that, that is the only business we have before us besides the legal matters. So I will ask Commissioner Kafalas to make motions to bring us into executive session, and then we will be adjourned.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I intend to combine the two motions unless our county attorney says otherwise. I believe we won't be making any decisions, so I don't think we'll be coming back. As such, I move the Board of County Commissioners move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402 4B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice about the county's membership in the Livermore Community Water Association and the related county-owned parcels of land. And furthermore, I move the commissioners move into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-4024B, conferences with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice, and the Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-4024E, determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators regarding Hutchins versus Larimer County, Federal District Court case number 23-CV-010819.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's a motion on the table. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion passes. There is no decision expected after these executive sessions, so we won't be coming back on the air. And so we are adjourned for the day, and we will see you next week, Larimer County.